Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we're learning every day a little bit better, I hope, to peace out when stuff goes wrong or when life just happens, right? Stuff doesn't have to go wrong. We still need his peace. We need his peace no matter what, right? But I hope you're having a great Friday morning. Hope you have good plans for the weekend. I'm hoping on Friday, right? But the typical week does anyway. But I do hope you're having a great May and a great. I hope you had a good week. So this morning I had this thought on my mind. Now I'll tell you right now, I'm a little uh, off today because I'm trying to change phones and change phone numbers. And if you haven't changed phone numbers recently, you don't have a clue of how crazy that can be. Everything is linked to your phone number, all of your apps, all of your contacts, all everything, and it's just crazy trying to change phone numbers now. So, but that was my best option to get rid of the account. The one anyway, it was just my best option because everything got all messed up. So, uh, with all that, I've just been real frustrated. So I was just praying this morning and listing out my things for God, going, "Oh Lord, help me know how to do this. Help me, take care of this," and thanking Him for some things. I've seen something this week. There's been two or three things that He's just really helped with. I knew I didn't have what it took to get through it, right? And so when we see those unexpected blessings, those sometimes in general, we expect Him to work. But when he really does something and we go, I know that was God, and it was the unexpected, which is what I titled today's devotion, the unexpected, it's just an extra blessing. It's just like, whoa, I didn't even see that coming, right? But sometimes the unexpected comes and it's just as scary as the expected. And here's the story I was thinking about. I was thinking about Matthew 14 when Jesus told his disciples to go to the other side. And we've read this story several times during Peace Out, right? We've covered the story. We've visited this story many times. But this morning, what stood out in my mind was this: Jesus says, "Okay, go across to the other side." They get halfway across, the wind starts blowing, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, the waves are contrary." It says they were tossed about, according to the New King James, because the wind was contrary. Have you ever been in a situation where the wind was contrary, the wind was fighting you? If you Here in Oklahoma, the wind can just be so strong, and I've tried to run when there's a real strong wind, and it's just like a full body workout because it can really be difficult, right? So their boat was getting tossed around, and Jesus comes walking to them on the water. That was the unexpected. And what was their response? They got scared. It was Jesus. But they didn't know because they didn't expect him to be there at that time. And so they were scared of Jesus. Now we laugh, but that's because we know the rest of the story. They didn't know the rest of the story, right? And so we laugh and go, well, it was Jesus, of course. But when we don't expect him sometimes, even his presence can cause us to some uncertainty, or causes some fears or whatever. It's sometimes, to be totally honest, because I want to be real practical in these devotions, right? Sometimes when God acts, it's almost as scary as when he doesn't, because we're like, okay, now what? And we're uncertain of what to do. And it says they were afraid, and they said it's a ghost, and it said they cried out for fear. So here's these grown men in a boat all going, maybe they were screaming like girls because they thought it was a ghost, right? They were afraid of him for just a second. And then Jesus spoke to them and said, it's okay. Cool. Be cool. Chill out. It's me. Don't be afraid. That would indicate to me that he put it back on them and said, stop. Stop being afraid. It's me. Right? And then Peter, who is really a lot like me in some ways, because he speaks before he thinks. He's out there, and then he realizes, "Oops, I put myself out there." And he says, "If it's you, just tell me to come to you. Tell me to come to you on the water." So he just got this bold, brass personality, right? And he just says stuff really fast. And Jesus goes, "Well, come on." Well, now Peter's got to jump out of the boat. And then what happened again? Peter is literally walking on the water to Jesus. But what happened? He looked at the storm again. How many times do we do that? We're trusting God. We put it all in his, okay, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's just me. I put it all in his hands and I'm like, oh, this is good. Thank you for that peace. Oh my gosh, what is this? Right? Okay, God, I'm putting this all in your hand. Okay, I've got this peace. This is so wonderful. Thank you so much for your peace. What was that? Right? And we let that peace get disrupted by the storm, the same storm. It's the same storm, right? When Peter saw the wind that was boisterous, he was afraid. This is the same storm. There was the one storm. Jesus came to them. They were afraid again. Jesus didn't calm the storm. He told Peter to walk to him on the water. Peter jumps out of the boat, starts walking on the water, and sees the same storm and got scared and started to sink. But Jesus reached out and saved him. He did not let him drown in that fear. He did not let him drown in that storm. He didn't let him fail. He grabbed him just like he grabs me every single day, just like he'll grab you when you think you're going to just for sure be overcome by the storms of life. He will grab you. And you know what, he said, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? And I think Jesus was kind of like, what's up, man? You were doing it. You were doing it, right? He wasn't, I don't think he was condemning him. He was going, why did you doubt? Look, did you see how far you walked? You see how far you actually walked on water, dude, right? And so what I got out of that this morning was, with just a little bit of faith you can walk on water. Just a little bit of faith, you can get to Jesus. With just a little bit of faith. But don't look at the storm. The storm did not change from verse 22 to verse 29 or even verse 30. Peter saw the storm. They were scared. They saw Jesus. They were scared. Jesus, oh, it's Jesus. We're okay. He gets out of the boat. He walks on water. He sees the same storm and he starts to sink again. He let that same storm affect him twice. I have to say, I do that all the time. It's the same storm. I was already scared. Jesus intervenes. He comes with the unexpected. I'm great. Woohoo, this is wonderful. And then I'm jumping out of the boat. This is awesome. Here comes Jesus. Oh my goodness, it's a storm. It's the same storm. And I'm sinking in the same storm that this story started with. I have to say, I do that 100 times a day. Usually it's my finances. Oh, God's got this. Oh, I got a blessing. Oh no, but it's still, I don't know. Right? And sometimes I feel like I'm so back and forth. Don't be afraid of the same storm. Jesus was still right there. He was still right there. Matter of fact, he reached out and saved Peter at that last moment when Peter started looking at the storm and started sinking. But with what I want to encourage you with today is, Jesus said, oh, you have little faith. And I'm thinking that was some big stuff with just little faith, right? Peter walked on the water. He walked on the water. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus and didn't look at this same storm, right, and kept his eyes on Jesus, he walked on the water with just a little bit of faith. What can we do with just a little bit of faith? Because Jesus says you had a little faith. Why did you look at the storm? You had a little faith. Why did you doubt? You had a little faith. You had it. You were walking. Look how far you got from the boat. And then Jesus had to drag him back to the boat, I assume. I don't know how he got him back to the boat, right? But it said he caught him. He reached him out and he reached out his hand and caught him. And I have to say that so many times I see God intervening for me when I'm looking at the storm. When I'm not even looking at him, he still got me. He could have told Peter, that's what you get. That's what you get. See, you took your eyes off me. Oh, you need some help? But he didn't. He grabbed him immediately. He didn't let Peter sink. He didn't let that storm, even though Peter was racked with fear, even though it was the same storm, Peter got scared again. Jesus didn't let him drown. He didn't let him sink. He didn't say, what were you doing? He didn't condemn him for taking his eyes off of him. He didn't even condemn him for the fear. He just grabbed him and he said, you have a little faith. And I'm like, if he could walk on water with a little faith, what can I do with a little faith today? Because I feel like I got little faith, right? I don't feel like I'm this big faith giant, right? I wish, but all I do is just trust God. I just got to keep trusting God. And I know that every time I fail, every time I get my eyes off of him, he's going to grab me and go, you got a little faith. Maybe he'll just say, maybe next time we'll take one more step. Maybe next time we'll take two more steps. Maybe next time with that little faith, you can walk on water. When the whole key to hold this thing is to keep our eyes on Him and what He told us in His Word. And He told us He's given us peace. He told us He gave us grace. He told us He gave us mercy. So today there's nothing to do but peace out, right? So peace out. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. And go walk on water spiritually, not really, right?